Have you seen the so-called Johns Hopkins study that's been making the social media and Bill Maher rounds lately? Some folks have been asserting that this Johns Hopkins study somehow showed that COVID-19 lockdowns have been essentially useless. If you haven't seen what they've been referring to, could it possibly be because there's been so-called a full-on media blackout of this so-called Johns Hopkins study, as an article for Fox News has claimed? Or maybe, just maybe, this Johns Hopkins study didn't receive much press because it wasn't exactly what some people have been claiming that it is. If you've noticed, some have been repeating the name Johns Hopkins study as if it were some kind of magical phrase like Open Sesame or Bop. In actuality, it's not really appropriate here to call what's being circulated a Johns Hopkins study, which might suggest that Johns Hopkins universe. Nevertheless, some people and social media accounts have been pushing the whole Johns Hopkins name. Yeah, the university itself didn't write the paper, because buildings can't type on laptops without crushing them. Heck, the paper even stated that views expressed in each working paper are those of the authors and not necessarily those of the institutions that the authors are affiliated with. Therefore, if folks really want to mention Johns Hopkins University, they should instead be referring to this work-in. Maher also didn't specify that the other two authors weren't from Johns Hopkins University, Jonas Irby, Mississippi, whom the working paper described as a special advisor at Center for Political Studies in Copenhagen, Denmark, and Lars Jonung, Ph.D., who is a professor emeritus in economics at Lund University. Moreover, Maher didn't specify that the three authors were economists rather than medical, epidemiology, or public health experts. It's not clear how much economists would understand the complexities and subtleties of medicine and public health. After all, if you go to the emergency room for an illness or injury, you probably wouldn't want someone who's just an economist treating you. Note that Irby, Jonung, and Hank used the term working paper in the paper. This is an important distinction. A working paper is not the same as a peer-reviewed study published in a reputable scientific journal, just like how a YouTube video of you getting pelted with sausages is not the same as a full-length Hollywood movie.